Hello there my Jedi and Sith friends, my Mandalorians, my Megalorians, and I think I see a couple of Gamorreans coming in. Please take a seat at the back, thank you for joining us. Hello and welcome to another Star Wars video. It is I coming at you once again, your friend and your favourite galactic hostess, Star Wars Meg. And today, even if it's just for a fleeting brief moment, it feels like the world is healing, at least if you're a prequel fan. In the same week that George Lucas starred in Minions vs. Monsters, in the same week that Star Wars Starfighter rumours are starting to do the rounds, and check out my last video for that, and also in the same week that Channing Tatum was spotted dressed as Erling Haaland at the World Cup, today we have something a bit more tame, a bit more relaxed, and something which I think Star Wars needs at the moment. Daniel Logan just shared a wonderful photo of himself with Jake Lloyd, and according to the caption they're celebrating progress that Jake has made in terms of his mental health. Daniel wrote this: "I can't put into words how much I love and I'm proud of this guy. He's come so far, worked so hard, and I'm honoured to call him my friend. Keep up the great work, Jake. And yes, my pool is green." Just a bit of fun there at the end, but if you're aware of what Jake has been through, this is a huge, amazing update. I'm sure everyone knows at this point, but just a bit of context for those who don't. Daniel played young Boba Fett in Attack of the Clones, and Jake played young Anakin in the Phantom Menace. And I've always said, with this newfound appreciation for the prequels, with everyone celebrating Hayden Christensen, Ewan McGregor, Ian McDiarmid, Natalie Portman, Liam Neeson, Ahmed Best, who came back as Kelleran in Mando, we should simultaneously be celebrating Jake and his contributions to the Star Wars universe. He will forever be young Anakin. Jake was handpicked by George, and you know what? He did a wonderful, wonderful job. There were definitely a lot of naysayers after episode 1, the media itself was brutal back then, and he didn't deserve any of the bullying or any of the hate. But like Jake's mum said, regardless, she thinks he would have been afflicted with the same condition nonetheless, because his dad had it, and she said it was unavoidable. That being said, over the last couple of years we've had one or two promising updates. One of them was on the more negative side, but on a few occasions we've heard that Jake's health and well-being is certainly improving. And in case you missed it, one of the big updates last time is that Jake is into Star Wars again. He's watching the shows, he's a big fan of Ahsoka, and now we know he's socializing with his friends again. And a suggestion which I've seen making the rounds, and this is something wonderful that could emerge from this, is it could be the first step into getting Jake to see how much fans love him at the next Star Wars celebration in Los Angeles. Could you imagine what a full circle moment that would be if he were a secret guest? Hayden Christensen is already confirmed, so imagine getting 2 Anakins. Imagine if this is Jake Lloyd's big return to Star Wars. I know it's not the priority, his health and stability come first, but he deserves all the best in the world. And if he's already re-engaging with various Star Wars content, he deserves to know how much fans appreciate his performance. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but it's the 50th anniversary of the franchise. We expect big surprises. I feel like George Lucas is almost a given. I might be wrong about this, but whether it's just for his museum or introducing a screening of the theatrical cut of A New Hope, I expect George, especially with Dave Filoni as co-president. I know he got on with Kathy very well. I mean, he's the one who chose her and he appeared at multiple celebrations in the past, but it's been a good few years, so hopefully George, and hopefully someone like Jake. The crowd would go berserk. Imagine if the host says, "Now we have a very special guest, someone who's making his first public appearance in many years. Welcome to the stage, young Anakin, Jake Lloyd." A lot of us would lose our minds. If you're a 90s kid, then for a very brief period, you know that Jake Lloyd was a very big deal back then. So I'm hoping Lucasfilm does this. It's amazing we have the likes of Hayden back in the Star Wars universe again. But someone like Jake, I'm telling you, it would go down as a huge Lucasfilm win. I would go as far as to say that Star Wars Celebration, Star Wars in general, and Star Wars fans need it. And like I said, in an age of prequel renaissance, you can't forget Jake's contribution. Even just something like the pod racing scene. This is something which Hayden Christensen brought up, that when you're talking about the legacy of Anakin, you have to mention Sebastian Shaw, Hayden of course, but also Jake. And I don't remember if I covered this at the time, but at Fan Expo Philadelphia a couple of years back, Hayden Christensen said, in preparation for his role in episode 2, to get into character he studied Jake's mannerisms, because in his mind, that was the version he was building upon. And did you know that for Hayden, the most notable mannerism which he adopted was Jake's half smile, something which later became characteristic of every version of Anakin. kind of like that cheeky, mischievous side. And I love when Hayden is asked about this because he has no shame in saying that Jake is just as much Anakin as he is. I think I speak for a lot of fans when I say I'd love to see both of them together on stage. Is it gonna happen? I will admit, it is a long shot, but you never know. And one final thing for this photo, my friends. Did you notice it's kind of an alternate version of this photo? It's Boba Fett and Darth Vader. People who've worked at Lucasfilm always say the studio is like a family. Katie Sackhoff has said this, Sam Witwer, and even Ahmed Best. In the behind the scenes for The Mandalorian's 3rd season, he literally said they invited him back with open arms. I think it's time they do the same for Jake, whether it's just an appearance at Celebration, or maybe at some point returning to our screens for a Star Wars project. That'd be amazing. I hope he's well protected, and like I said, this man deserves the best. I think I've done a video on this pretty much every year since 2024, and last time I got a comment where someone said, "Why is it a big deal? Why do you care so much?" I guess it's because the Phantom Menace meant a lot to me as a kid. I've said this before, but I was the target demographic. Call it nostalgia, obviously Disney loves to milk that, but I guess it's a very human thing to attach ourselves to things that meant a lot to us as kids. And if you weren't there in '99, it might be hard to understand just how much of a phenomenon this film was. Star Wars was back. The Phantom Menace was everywhere. People took time off their jobs. People were lining up to get the toys. But for all the backlash, it was a global sensation. The anticipation for episode 1 is something that we're probably never going to see again. I don't mean that in a pessimistic way. I'm not talking about Star Wars is dead or anything like that. I'm talking about the difference of the times we're living in. Today's media climate has nothing to do with what it was like back then. I guess attention for pop culture events wasn't as split as it is in 2026. Today it's fragmented across streaming, gaming, TikTok, YouTube, you name it. The old cultural environment is gone. It was so much more concentrated back then. But what I'm saying is, I was the perfect age to get sucked into that. And I remember the cereal boxes, the toys, the Pizza Hut promos, the Pepsi promos. Do you guys remember Martha Lamp?
We've got to save the Queen! We're under attack! Mr. Jar Jar Binks come for comic relief!
It was just everywhere. And of course Jake was what fans at the time called the new Luke. We knew who Anakin was, but he was poised to be the new protagonist for a new Star Wars trilogy. So of course fans were making that comparison. He was young Darth Vader. So in that sense, I'm always going to root for Jake. A wholesome moment. What do you guys think? Maybe I've gone on for a bit too long on this one, but I just wanted to share what I thought about this. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, my friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check out my last video, and I'll see you next time. May the Force be with you, always.